The Texans are setting CJ Stroud up for failure.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what I say. Hard work, work, work. Earn my pay. Hard work, work. Hard work, do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of quarter to three. Hard work, work. Let go and earn my pay. Hard work, work. Boots on and lace.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning into Sports Talk with Big Sarge, but there's something that I'm doing new now. I decided that starting in March, I would like to do something called the Morning Brief, where I come on and I talk about things that are sports related to the world, just, doing a little mixing and matching. But welcome to the Morning Brief. I really want to come on here and talk about Houston rapper Killer Leon making the remarks about Houston Rockets forward Kevin Durant being Robin. I really wanted that to be my first, like that. I wanted that to be the first morning brief because I got some fire that I'm going to let off on Killer Leon. I ain't trying to do no gangster stuff either, Killer. So I'm just responding to what you said. So just make sure I let you know up front. I ain't trying to do that. But in the midst of me preparing for that show, I got an alert, right? I got an alert on my phone that said the Houston Texans and Cleveland Browns are in talks to finalize a trade that will send offensive lineman Tytus Howard to the Browns for a 5th-round pick. Ian Rappaport reported it first. And I said to myself, wait a minute, what the hell? It's March 2nd, not April 1st. That's something that I thought I would see on the April Fool's joke. But this is March 2nd, not April 1st. And so when I read that and I looked at it again and I put out a tweet on social media that said, wow, well, Nick is finally getting his way. Nick is finally getting the Patriots' way. By Nick, I mean Houston Texans general manager Nick Caserio. Some of you all are asking, what does that mean, Sarge? What does that mean when you say that he is getting, he's making it the Patriots' way? So when you go back and you look at how the New England Patriots were made up and how they felt like they never had to pay big money to anybody. They never had to pay big money to make the system work, right? And really, in all actuality, the Patriots way was nothing but Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong. I know Bill Belichick has a brilliant mind. He's a brilliant mind. He was a great head coach, a very, very good defensive-minded coach. But the Patriots way is just Tom Brady. That's it. Point blank, period. So it looks like the Houston Texans organization, as far as the football side is concerned, starting with general manager Nick Caserio, like he's putting everything in place for it to look like the Patriots South. You all remember when that used to be a thing? You remember when the Patriots South used to be a thing? And then it died off. I'm going to tell you when it died off. It died off when they fired Lovie Smith. And the reason why it died off a little bit when they hired Lovie Smith was because Nick Caserio's job was on the line. Go back and look at that press conference that he did when they fired Lovie Smith. That is I've never seen Nick Caserio so humble in my life. He was very, very, very humble. And I said, oh, okay. And then I realized why, because she was, Hannah McNair was sitting in the front row. Kyle McNair was sitting in the front row, and they're looking directly at him saying, with their eyes, hey, you got to get this together. And what did they do? They went out and they hired D'Amico Ryans, a very, very, very good coach. He's proven that in the first 3 years that he's been here. He's one of the hottest coordinators out there. His name was very hot. There was teams that needed head coaches were looking for a coach like D'Amico Ryans. They got him. What did that do? Push some things to the backside. Slowly but surely, you kept seeing Nick put in these little, they're doing these little things to put this guy or that guy. And I'm not even just talking about his John Carroll connection. I'm talking about like the Patriots, right? Because the offensive coordinator has Patriot ties. The offensive line coach has Patriot ties. The new quarterbacks coach has Patriot ties. There's other people within the organization that has Patriots ties. And now you are looking at the newest version of the Patriot South. And it's wild because the New England Patriots did not become successful until Tom Brady took off. Tom Brady is the Patriots way. So unless you're going to get a quarterback like Tom Brady, which could CJ Stroud be that? Sure, because nobody knew who Tom Brady was but Tom Brady. CJ Stroud could be Tom Brady if put in the right situation, but they're not putting him in the right situation. Let me go ahead and get this damn thing started. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tik and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. What's up, TikTok family? Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Because we do everything for the gram. I'm going to tell you why this is like Tytus Howard is a very good locker room guy. Tytus Howard is a guy who will talk to you. Win, lose, or draw, he's going to talk to you, tell you exactly what's going on. If he didn't have a good game, he'll tell you, hey, man, I didn't play good, right? He'll tell you, I didn't play good. So when I seen it, I said, damn, not another good locker room guy gone. But not only that, looking at it from a football perspective, right? Trading Tytus Howard to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th round pick. You're losing one of your most versatile linemen, that you have had in this organization in a very long time. Not only is Tytus a swing tackle, he's a swing guard. Tytus Howard has played every position on the offensive line except center. Every position except on the offensive line except center. So he's by far he's naturally a right tackle. And I see all these people talking about, oh, he's not a good run blocker. He's not this, he's not that. Imagine being a right-handed person, right? You're right-hand dominant. And then all of a sudden they tell you, hey, don't use your right hand, just use your left hand only. And although you've dibbled and dabbled with using your right hand, your left hand, you dibbled and dabbled with using your left hand, you're not really proficient in using your left hand. That's exactly what it is when they move Tytus Howard along the line. He's naturally a right tackle. He thrives. He thrives at right tackle. I've been saying that since day one. Tytus Howard is a right tackle. He's not a left tackle. He's not a left guard. He's not a right guard. He's not a center. He's a right tackle. But because Tytus has played throughout his football career, has played every position except wide receiver, and now he plays some running back too. Tytus Howard has played throughout his football career, not his NFL career, his football career. He's played every position on the offensive line, including tight end. Tytus Howard was a quarterback. Go back to his high school days. Look at his last game and see how many yards and touchdowns he threw for in high school. He hasn't played wide receiver. He played some running back when he was younger. So Tytus Howard is not only the most versatile lineman that you have, he's the smartest. When Jared Patterson had to play center, what was that? Not 2 seasons ago. You remember when they put Jared Patterson at center and they had Tytus Howard at left guard? You know what Jared Patterson said? I wouldn't have been able to get through doing nothing. I couldn't have done shit if it wouldn't have been for Tytus Howard. Tytus was, when we get to the line, Tytus was also telling me what was going on. Ask rookie Ariante Ursery how much better he got with Tytus Howard being next to him. Tytus is telling him, hey, this is what we need to do. Blase this and blase this, blase that. So once again, imagine being right hand dominant and being asked to use your left hand. That's exactly what it is when you ask a natural right tackle in Tytus Howard to move to left tackle, move to left guard. When you're used to doing something one way, then they say switch over, and then you go over, and it isn't like he was a bad left guard. It isn't like he was a bad left tackle. But he was the most versatile lineman that you had. And this is what you do. This is how you do it. This is what you do. This is how you decide to say, hey, man, we want to reward you for your loyalty. Now, we'll get to, I know, they got to pay Will, they got to pay CJ, and then you're going to have Kalen Bullock's contract coming up. You're going to have Kamari Lassiter's contract coming up. You're going to have to come back around and look at how much you're going to have to pay Nico. I get that part. I got it. I understand that. But you cannot say that paying Tytus wouldn't have been worth it. I just don't understand, because now you get to a point, right? You get to a point now where the only offensive starter that you have that is proficient is a player that's going to be playing in his second year. Ariante Ursery. Ariante Ursery is the only definite starter that you have. Ed Ingram, he's a free agent. Are they going to bring him back, or are they going to pay him? So now you're going to Trent Brown. Come on now. I don't have nothing against Big Trent, but Big Trent's days has passed him by. So who are you going to play? So who's your right tackle now? Who's your right guard? Who is your center? Jake Andrews? I think he's gone, right? Somebody, hey, drop that in the chat. I think that he was on a 1-year deal, but you don't have a center, and you don't have a left guard. So you are missing 4 offensive line positions. The only definite that you have is that you have a starting left tackle. That's it. You gave up Tytus Howard for a 5th-round pick. Okay, I got it. So now you're going to try to build, right? Build through the draft, or try to build through free agency, which, how has that worked out for you, Nick? Last year, you signed 3 offensive linemen. Well, you signed 2 and traded for 1, if I'm not mistaken. But you brought in 3 new offensive linemen, and then you got rid of 2. Ed Ingram was the only one that panned out. Ed Ingram was the only one that panned out on that offensive line. You got rid of the other 2. Did you find a gem in Ariante Ursery? Yes, you did. That young man, if he sticks to it, is going to be very, 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 very good. He has all the intangibles. He has all the tools to do what he needs to do. But he's going to be playing in his second year. You got 4 offensive line spots open now. And that's... Give me a second, because it's in the morning. I worked out this morning. Still getting myself hydrated. So, you're going to trade Tytus Howard. You don't know if you're going to bring back Ed Ingram. You are 1 position solidified on the offensive line in Ariante Ursery at left tackle. You talked about how, head coach D'Amico Ryans talked about how they need offensive line help and how they need running back help. But you don't have 4 positions solidified. and this is how you treat your franchise quarterback. Do not get me wrong. CJ did not perform well in the playoffs. He did not perform well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did not perform well against the New England Patriots. I will agree with you and high five you all day on that. Let's agree on that. He did not. Did CJ have a record-breaking season? Did he have a mind-blowing season? Did he have one of those seasons that make you turn your head and be like, damn, this guy is really, really good? No, he did not. Did he have his rookie season? No, he did not. But you know what else he didn't have? Continuity along the offensive line. The only thing that he knew was Ariante was going to start at left tackle and Tytus Howard was going to be somewhere on that line. Tytus Howard was going to be somewhere along that line. Either he was going to be on the left side or he was going to be on the right side, but he was going to be on that line. And now what do? Now you trade away Tytus Howard and you're saying, okay, CJ, go out there and make it happen. Y'all don't think that's setting CJ up for failure? So I've said this on previous shows. You can go back and watch them on YouTube at Big Sarge Media. I said this on previous shows. 2 years in a row. Two years in a row. The Texans offensive line has not been good. You know who watched all throughout OTAs, all throughout training camp, all throughout preseason? You know who watched every practice, watched every play, watched every snap, and knew that was going to happen? General Manager Nick Caserio. He stands at the end of the field most of the time with a play sheet. With a program sheet of what they got. I mean, a sheet of what the different things that they're going to do throughout practice. He's there the whole practice. He watches the whole practice. 2 years ago, this is when Laramie Tunsil was here. That offensive line did not practice together until the last week of training camp. They did not play together until the first game of the regular season. All throughout that time, myself and others kept saying, hey, man, they got to go out and get some help. Now, don't get me wrong. Going out and finding a great offensive lineman in this league isn't just like, hey, like going to Kroger or going to Walmart or going to Target or going in and just saying, this is what I need, grabbing it off the shelf and leave it. It don't work that way. And I get that part. I do. But there is a way to get things done, to get some reliable and dependable type people. But you went out and you got Cam Robinson, who they have told you since Jacksonville, hey man, this guy's he's not a good offensive lineman. He's just not. He's not. You go out and you get these other people, you try to add them, and then what happens? I'm going to tell you when it really started. Since we're here, right? Since we're here, let me tell you when it really started for me. If the Houston Texans never get rid of George Fant, if they put George Fant on the line, if you're going to have Tytus play guard, right? If you're going to have Tytus play guard, then you keep one of your most dependable and very, well, I don't want to say very, very good, but good, dependable right tackles in George Fant. So you put George Fant at the right tackle. If you're going to get rid of Laramie Tunsil because of the money, then you get rid of him. Then you bring in a player like Ariante Ursery. So at least you got your bookend tackles now. And then you can, Tytus, if you're going to put Tytus at left guard, then let Tytus play left guard. But now it's just all of a sudden, now you're rolling downhill and now you don't have anybody. So who's going to protect CJ Stroud? Who's going to protect him? And then you know what? When I say that, you're setting CJ up for failure. Nobody's going to protect him. And when he doesn't have that type of protection, now it leaves him open to criticism, right? Does anybody know how CJ Stroud is going to come back and play? You don't. Does anybody know if those 2 playoff games are going to linger over into the regular season? You don't. You hope not. As a Texans fan, you hope that he does not allow that to linger over into the regular season. But by not giving him any goddamn offensive lineman and taking away, first you took away his most dependable left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. Now you're taking away his most dependable offensive lineman in Tytus Howard. And you're going to put fresh people up there. Also, now he has to go through this whole training camp trying to figure out, okay, what is this guy's tendencies? Okay, you're going to put Jake Andrews up. So last season, he's learning a brand new system. You put him in his second offensive system in his 3rd season. So now he's learning not only offensive system, but the people who are in front of him. The only person he knew was Tytus. That was it. Ariante was new. Jake Andrews was new. Ed Ingram was new. And hey, somebody help me out. Who was that other guard that came in? Tomlinson, right? Tomlinson. I can't remember his first name. God dang it. But now you got all these new people in front of him, and the only person that he's familiar with is Tytus. Because now Laramie's gone. So now you get rid of Tytus, and the only person he's really familiar with, if you don't bring back Ed Ingram, Laken Thompson, thank you, is the only person he's going to be familiar with is Ariante. But you're going to want him to go out and make sure that he performs to an elite level, all the while not giving him the protection that he needs. I said this 2 seasons ago. What you're asking CJ Stroud to do is to build a house. To build a house with wood and nails. That's it. He doesn't have any other equipment, any other tools. He doesn't have a nail gun. He don't have a hammer. He ain't got nothing else. Wood and nails. Build a house, CJ. Okay, so that's cool. But where's the cement so I can lay the foundation? Build a house, CJ. Cool. Criticize him all you want. I don't give a damn. I will agree with you. His playoffs were terrible. His playoffs were horrible. But now you're putting him in a position going into his 4th season to say, make it happen. Make it happen. We drafted you high. Hey, we're going to give you the money. We're going to pay you the money. We're going to give you the money. But you give him the money, and then you're going to turn right back around and try to say, well, he's one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He should be able to get it done. With what? With what? If the Texans don't get, because I don't think that Joe Mixon is coming back. I've been saying that since last season, before the season even started. I was like, hey, Joe ain't playing this year. Joe may not ever play football again. But if you go out and you got to get a free agent running back. So let's just say by happenstance, the Houston Texans pick up are able to sign a running back like Kenneth Walker II, right? So you bring him in, Super Bowl MVP coming from the Seattle Seahawks. You bring him in, and now you're bringing him in, you're paying him this money, and then you're saying run behind these guys. Well, who is these guys? It was already going to be new to him anyway. Any free agent running back that they go out and get is going to be new to him. Hell, it's going to be new to Woody. And by being new to Woody, it's going to be like, damn. Okay, so I had, who am I running behind now? So, just like I said, most coaches in the NFL will tell you, hey, we want to establish the run. What the Houston Texans have not been able to do is establish the run. You know why they can't establish the run? Because every year is damn near like playing musical chairs on your offensive line. And now you go out and you get rid of one of your best. But we don't want to pay Tytus that type of money. Okay, cool. Fine. The Browns do, right? The Browns trade. The Browns gave him an extension. I think it was a 3-year, $63 million extension. As soon as he gets traded there, they're gonna give him the money. Okay. Going to put him back because reports coming out of Cleveland is that Deshaun Watson looks like he's going to compete, but he has the edge over Shedeur Sanders to be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. But even if it's Shedeur, getting a lineman like Tytus Howard is very good for a young quarterback, just like it was good for a young quarterback like CJ. People are saying, well, the running game suffered when Tytus. Yes, because Tytus it was playing left guard. He went from playing on the outside to playing on the inside. And that's the one thing that I cannot understand. I cannot understand when you all start to evaluate him and say, hey man, he played bad at guard. He's a tackle. Yeah, well, we should have got better guard play out of Tytus. He's a tackle. Well, Tytus should have been able to be more effective at the guard position. He is a fucking tackle that just so happen can play. You can plug and play him, but if you want to get the maximum use out of him, you got to put him at right tackle. A portable charger, right? A portable charger will help you get some power back into your phone, but a charger that goes into the wall gonna charge your phone like that. It's gonna take you a little time with that portable charger. You know, the one that you just sit your phone on and you wait for it to charge. You be like, damn, it is taking forever. No, it will charge. It just may take a while compared to sticking the charger in the wall, plugging it into your phone, and next thing you know, shit, 7 to 8 minutes later, man, they got these chargers now. Hell, I think as soon as you stick the charger into the phone, 100%. When I was in the airport in Dallas on Sunday, my phone was down to like 21%. I put the charger in it. 7 minutes I came back. That thing was at 71%. Now imagine what it would have been if I had to put it on the portable charger. You get my analogy? You get what I'm saying? It isn't one of those things where Tytus is going to be just as effective at the left guard position as he is playing right tackle. And if you're going to evaluate him like that, also, one thing I can't understand is, so you want him to be loyal, right? Y'all want these players to be loyal to these franchises, right? You get all upset when they go into free agency or they move or they demand a trade. You want them to be loyal to the franchise. You want them to be loyal to the team that you root for. But then when it comes down to these business decisions, which they tell you right from the get-go, hey man, look, professional sports is still a business. Professional sports is still a business. But you all get pissed off when these players want to leave, when these players want to be traded. Well, okay, then so now what? Has Tytus not done everything? Has Tytus not done everything that this organization asked him to do? Tytus has done everything that this organization has asked him to do. You ask him to play multiple positions, he played multiple positions. You asked him to step up and be the leader in that offensive line room now that Laramie Tunsil was gone, he stepped up. Go ask his teammates. He stepped up. He should have been a captain. He should have been a team captain. But he stepped up in that offensive line room, took control, took charge in that offensive line room, and helped lead them to where to be better than they were before. Because I think the year before they gave up, 50 plus sacks. I think last year they gave up 29 in totality. I got to look that up. I don't have those stats available. But I know they gave up significantly less sacks than they had before. So that's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. How are you going to come in and you're going to say, because let me tell you something. If you want to make it work, you'll make it work. Now, I don't know if they're going to make CJ play this year out. I know that Will is definitely going to get an extension, and they're going to probably make him the highest paid defensive end in the NFL. Well deserved, well deserved, well deserved. When they go into CJ's, when it's time to do CJ's contract, they're going to look at the quarterback market. They're going to compare that to CJ's play, and they're probably going to find somewhere in the middle. Will they take into account that, you know what? I don't even want to do that. Yes, I do. Fuck it. Will they take into account that they put him in a new offensive system in 3 years? Will they? I'm sorry, his second offensive system in 3 years. Will they take that into account? They won't. They take that in. They take into account that the offensive line has been a or the starting offensive line has been like a revolving door. Will they take that into account? No, they won't. Will they take into account that even though I said this before, I'll say it again, he did not play well this past postseason. But please, please, please name me the last time that CJ Stroud has played in a divisional playoff game with this full complement of wide receivers. Don't worry, I'll wait. When? Against the Baltimore Ravens, Tank Dell was hurt. He only had Nico Collins. They rolled the coverage over to Nico, and they lost. Against the Kansas City Chiefs in year 2, he only had Nico. Tank Dell was hurt. Stephon Diggs was hurt. They rolled the coverage over to Nico. Year 3, Nico gets hurt. So now he's playing with 2 rookies in Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. He's playing with Xavier Hutchinson. He's playing with often injured Christian Kirk, who played well in Pittsburgh but didn't show up in New England. Neither did CJ. He lost Dalton Schultz in the first half, his other only reliable wide receiver. So all I'm asking you is, hold on, y'all. I'm reading this. Did you know that a ball python has to dislocate his jaw to handle larger meats, just like your mom? This is from Potato Man on TikTok. Hey, Potato Man, I'm not gonna even lie. That's pretty funny, even though my mom's deceased. But Potato Man said, "Did you know that a ball python has to dislocate his jaw to handle larger meats?" He said, "Just like your mom, my deceased mom." That's cool. Hey, Potato Man, how do you know that information? Sounds like you may have dislocated your jaw a few times to handle larger meats. Sounds like you're speaking from experience. Sounds like you've probably dislocated your jaw a couple of times to pay your rent or your car note, maybe health insurance, maybe to get something to eat, maybe for drugs, maybe for alcohol. Potato Man, I feel like you're speaking from experience. Like that's just a random fact, right? That's just a random fact that you would throw out there about ball pythons having to dislocate his jaw to handle larger meats. Sounds like you've done this before. Like I feel like Potato Man, I feel like you're speaking from experience. Like you probably like there's probably video of you doing that. That's wild. I digress. We're not here for that. We're not here for that. But I mean, if you're gonna take shots at my deceased mother, then I'm gonna take shots at you, Potato Man. Potato Man. Hey, what time is it? It's 8:50 Central Standard Time, right? 8:50 Central Standard Time. I feel like Potato Man, you probably just put your jaw back in place. You probably just put your jaw back in place for the second time. I feel like you started your night out dislocating your jaw so you can handle larger meats. I digress. Back to this breaking news of the Houston Texans trading Tytus Howard to the Cleveland Browns. Well, once the new season starts, but trading Tytus Howard to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick. And for the life of me, somebody please answer this question for me. Why is it always the goddamn Cleveland Browns? Why? Why is it always the Cleveland Browns? Appreciate that, Derek. I do see them trading up for a tackle. I do see the Houston Texans going into the NFL draft offensive line, thinking offensive line heavy, but you're still putting rookies in front of your franchise quarterback, which is really weird to me. I think I seen somebody earlier say something about Blake Fisher, right? They got Blake Fisher. So, which is really funny, right? This is really funny because I just put out on Twitter Sunday I put on, or Saturday, I put on, I was like, I keep, like, sometimes I just randomly hear number 57 has reported as eligible. Number 57 is Blake Fisher, who was brought in as the 6th offensive lineman a lot throughout the season. And as that additional offensive lineman, Blake was good. I just don't know how Potato Man out there on Bissonnet facts. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know if Blake Fisher is ready to handle that full-time role of playing right tackle. Maybe you're going to see. Someone said something about Juice Scruggs. I don't know when and I don't know where it happened, right? I don't know when it happened. I don't know where it happened. I don't know why it happened. But some way, somehow, Juice got into Popovich's doghouse. And once he got into Popovich's doghouse, there was no way that he could come out. There was no way that he could come out. You notice Juice Scruggs was getting some playing time, then all of a sudden he just wasn't, right? And maybe it was something. Look, I've never coached offensive linemen before. Maybe it was something that Popovich seen that just didn't right with him as far as being able to give him playing time and putting him out on the field. But you also got to give this young man time to get acclimated into playing in these things. So, like, I hate that we're in a society now where there's really no development, right? There's not a lot of development that goes on in the NFL especially on certain teams. That's no knock at Popovich, but I'm saying that if Blake Fisher should be playing way better than he should have if you're the offensive line coach that you say you are. Juice Scruggs should have took him on as a project. Give me 1 second, y'all. I don't know what it is today, y'all. Y'all give me a second, maybe because I ain't been here for a while. So at James PY6KF, I'm putting this up on the screen too. James says, I would like to know how Big Sarge can afford to fly to all these cities. I want whatever financial genius you have. Why are you worried about another man, James? What is going on with y'all today? Black History Month is over. Now we go into March, and now all of a sudden, all y'all are just worried about me. Why does that matter? Why do you care, James? Why do you care about my financials? You gonna give me some money? You need my cash out? DM me on Twitter. Big Star Sports is Z at the end. DM me. I'll send you my Cash App, and then you can give me some money since you're so worried about my financials. I don't understand why y'all worried about me, James. If you why you worried about another man's money? Why you worried about another person's money? Why are you worried about that? You know what you sound like? You sound like this radio host here in the city of Houston that I remember when I first started traveling and going to different games. He pulled me to the side. Hey man, how are you able to afford? I mean, how are you flying out like that? How are you coming to these games? Why does it matter to you? You know what? This may be his burner. You know what? This may be his burner. Hey, bro, I thought you got a game to call tonight in Washington. Why are you on my feed? Why are you using your burner to get on my feed? Don't you got a game to call in Washington? Get the fuck out of here, James. Kiss my ass. Uh anyway, where was I? Got it. Popovich, right? If Popovich should be able to, and this is going to be, so here's the thing, right? This is going to be the hardest task. I think this is going to be the most difficult task for a coach like Cole Popovich, the offensive line coach for the Houston Texans, because outside of Ariante, they finna give you all these brand new players. They finna give you drafted rookies. How are you going to develop them? You got rookies you're about to get in this draft. Or how are you going to develop Fisher? How are you going to develop Patterson? How are you going to develop Juice Scruggs? Like, if these are the people that are going to be here, right? You hope that the Houston Texans can come to an agreement and sign a deal with Ed Ingram to bring it back, to give them some type of continuity, and at least have them looking for 3 offensive linemen instead of 4. But if not, hey, Cole Popovich, how are you going to fix this issue? How are you going to work out this problem? And for the life of me, I can't understand how, like, these general managers, right? They know that these type of things are coming up. And I think I seen somebody post something about where they're going to save this amount of money in cash. They're going to say, let me tell you all something. Real fans don't give 2 fucks about saving money. They want good teams. You know what? Forgive me for using profanity. And now Queen is here. I gotta stop cussing. Hand over her. Oh, Alexis is here too. I gotta stop cussing. Tay is here too. I gotta stop cussing. Put my hand over my heart. I'm gonna restrain from using profanity for 7 minutes. For but for the life of me, one of the things that I can't understand is how, if a general manager knows that these things are coming up, you should be able to mix and match and be able to do the things to keep the players. But maybe, maybe you don't see that value in Tytus. Like, so maybe Nick just felt like Tytus wasn't worth it. Maybe it felt like Tytus wasn't worth it and said, let's move on. But if Tytus isn't worth it, if Tytus isn't worth the money, right? If he's not worth the money, and you get the draft pick, and you use, or if you're not going to package these draft picks up to get a better player, even if you package up draft picks and get into a better draft position and draft the offensive lineman, you still are drafting a rookie. So unless you have a really good offensive lineman free agent on your radar, or you're willing to give up capital to go out and get a really good offensive lineman, you are putting yourself right back in position to struggle. You're putting yourself right back in position to be in that situation where you're having CJ trying to make things happen. On top of the fact that you got a 2nd-year running back in Woody Marks, you're going to have to bring in and combine him with another running back. And so if you don't get one on the free agent market, you're going to have to get one off in the draft. And now you got a 2nd-year running back and a rookie running back trying to play behind a makeshift offensive line, because that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be a makeshift offensive line. Yes, Queena, they're trading Tytus to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th round pick. You're 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 putting your franchise quarterback behind a makeshift line. You're putting your second year running back and maybe a rookie running back. But if you get a veteran running back, maybe a veteran running back can run better behind the offensive line. But you're putting your two key components on top of the fact that you don't have good blocking tight ends. So now you're gonna have to go out and get a tight end. One of the reasons why, behind the scenes, one of the reasons why the Texans felt like they weren't effective in running the ball, they felt like they didn't have good blocking tight ends. So what do? You have that much faith in Cole Popovich. You have that much faith in Cole Popovich that he can make this happen. You have that much faith in Cole Popovich that he can turn any offensive line into an effective offensive line. That's basically what you're saying. That's basically what you're telling CJ. And it doesn't matter to me who you go out and get, either in free agency or through the draft, as far as offensive line is concerned. CJ has to build continuity with that person. CJ has to build continuity with that player. It's like having a job and having a team. You're the supervisor and you have a team of you have a you know what, let me use me for an example, right? Let me use me for example. When I became an NCO in the United States Army, for those of you all don't know, NCO stands for non-commissioned officer. When I became a non-commissioned officer, they moved me from the position that I was working in upstairs. So I was at a hospital, working at a hospital by this time. They moved me from the position that I was working with and the team that I was working with upstairs to downstairs. And I got a whole new group. I got a whole group of soldiers. Did I know these soldiers? I knew some of them. Had I worked with these soldiers? Never. And on top of that, those soldiers were PCSing. And that means that they were changing duty stations. So they were leaving Fort Belvoir, getting ready to go somewhere else. I was getting a brand new group of soldiers coming in, some of them coming out of AIT, which is you go to basic training first and then you go to AIT. And for some of them, Fort Belvoir was their first duty station. So I wasn't getting seasoned. I wasn't getting seasoned soldiers who had been doing the job for a long time. I was getting some soldiers who had been maybe in place for for a couple of months, and then I was getting brand new soldiers coming in, and they come in. The mission doesn't change though. The mission does not change. All right, Alexis, be safe. The mission does not change. But when you get these new people in here, I don't know them from Adam. I don't know their work ethic. I don't know. So it's going to take time to build some continuity, to build some camaraderie, to build up to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. What are you good at? What are you struggling in? Maybe not maybe. What are you struggling in so I can help you to improve on that? All the while depending on these soldiers who have just been here, coming maybe from Germany or Korea or from Fort Drum in New York, coming from Fort Leonard in Missouri, or maybe coming from I can't think of the name of the base in Hawaii. Oh, god dang it is. Anyway, coming from Hawaii, they're still getting acclimated to being here, just doing this job. And now I got new people coming in. Now I'm like, okay, so we got to make all these things work together because the mission is the same. The mission is to complete whatever the task is at hand. Hey, look, you got this task. It needs to be complete. I don't want to hear all of that. You got to make it work. Most of the time, the NCOs do understand, though, you got brand new soldiers. So I say all that to say this. CJ is the NCO, the non-commissioned officer. That offensive line are his soldiers. And so if he's going to be able to lead them, he has to be able to build some type of continuity with them, right? he has to build some type of continuity with them in order for them to be able to all work towards the common goal, and that's to win, and that's to get to win the division, to win a playoff game, to go to the AFC Championship, to go to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl. They all have to be on the same page. But if there is no continuity in there yet, then how is it going to get done? On top of the fact that you got a second year, on top of the fact you got a second year offensive play caller, second year offensive play caller. On top of the fact that the quarterback's coach is gone, and now not only last year CJ had to deal with getting a new offense coordinator, this year he has to deal with having a new quarterbacks coach. Sure, Jerry Shaplinski has been around for a minute, so maybe him and CJ have some type of camaraderie amongst each other, but it's still going to be different than hearing it from Gerard, somebody he's known since he was 16 years old. So you're asking CJ to be that leader, but you're not giving him the time to get acclimated. Somebody dropped this in the what you call it in the chat. You tell me. CJ has been in the league for 3 years. How many starting offensive line units has he had? Has he ever had the same offensive line unit going into consecutive years? He's going into his 4th year. He's going to be playing behind his 4th different line. See, people don't take these type of things into consideration because the only thing they want to do is criticize. CJ play like this, CJ play like that. Cool, I got that part. You look, we're all here. We all have our opinions. You could all say, hey, according to his QBR and the metrics and this, that, and the other, most of you all who use analytics don't use the eye test. A lot of people can't get both of those in at the same time. Hold on. Most people can't get that going at the same time as far as matching analytics and the eye test together. They either depend heavily on the analytics or they depend heavily on the eye test. Some people can't make that connection. Well, Sarge can. And I tell y'all that all the time. I can make the connection. Most of the times I do make the connection. Now, is that criticized on social media? Everybody like Potato Man that got a keyboard? Sure it does. When you go back and you look and you say to yourself, damn, Sarge is right. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't mind being wrong. I don't care about being wrong. What I'm trying to tell you is that CJ is going to get a big contract from the Texans. He's going to get that money, but he's also probably going to be running for his life behind a new offensive line. He's probably going to have to try to make wine out of water. He's probably gonna have to try to make wine out of water because he don't know these new guys that's going to be in front of him, and you're going to judge him because you think that as soon as CJ comes into training camp and starts playing with this new offensive line, that they should be able to take right off. Well, a couple of things. One, he doesn't know. He does not know who these guys or who these new players are as far as how do they play. I know how Ariante play. If you're gonna put Blake there, okay, I got it. I know how he plays. You're gonna put Juice in, I got it. All right. So okay, so I got it if you're gonna do those type of things. But a lot of you all are gonna expect him to come in on day one and be successful behind this line. You know what this offensive line also has to do? This offensive line also has to go up against the best defense in the NFL in training camp. When training camp started last year, almost every video that I did, every recap that I did, every time I tweeted, put out videos, whatever the case may be, not every time, for the majority of the time. I said, hey man, this defense is kicking the offense's butt. That defense, and I told y'all, hey, this defense is gonna be special. I got a clip where I asked Aaron, how special can this defense be? I see them being the number one defense in the league. That defense is special. And CJ is not going to be able to develop unless they call off the dogs. And if they don't call off the dogs, CJ is going to have the same type of training camp that he had last year. You show some brilliant, some great plays sporadically here and there, but for the most part, you're wondering, hey man, where's the pressure coming from? Who's doing what? I got to get ready to get up out of here. But let me say this. Two things before I go. One, I started off asking this question. I'll ask you again. Why the hell are they always trading with Cleveland? And I mean, if we keep it a buck, we keep talking about Patriot South, they're really turning into Cleveland Brown South. Hey, sorry, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by they change it? They're turning into Cleveland Brown South. When you look at the Cleveland Brown, what's the first thing that stands out to you? The defense. When you look at the Cleveland Browns team, the first thing that stands out to you is the defense, right? And then what else stands out? That they have an all-pro edge rusher. They got defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett at edge rusher. So when you look at that defense, the first thing you think of is edge rusher. And then they have another edge rusher that is good. Then they have a pretty good linebacker core. Then they have a pretty good defensive backfield. Now the Houston Texans, they have a really good set of defensive ends. They have good linebackers. They have excellent defensive backs, like great defensive backs, and they struggle on offense. What did Cleveland Browns? What happened to the Cleveland Browns? Great defense, struggled on offense. The Texans are becoming the Browns of the South. What other way can I put it? Tell me I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. When you look at the Cleveland Browns, first person you talk about is Myles Garrett. When you look at the Houston Texans, who's the first person you talk about? Will Anderson Jr. When you look at the Houston Texans defense, the first person you're going to call out is Will Anderson Jr. And then Derek Stingley. Then Kamari Lassiter. Then Danielle Hunter. Then Azeez Al-Shaair, Kalen Bullock, Henry To'oTo'o. Like, there's other people you're going to call, but even with that being said, Will Anderson's name is going to be first, just like you do when you talk about the Cleveland Browns. They talk about Myles Garrett. And then when you go to the offensive side, now you're saying, okay, what do they have on the offensive side of the ball? The Houston Texans do have some talent as far as the quarterback position is concerned with C.J. Stroud. They do have talent when it comes to Pro Bowl wide receiver Nico Collins. They got two up-and-coming wide receiver, second year now wide receivers that you're going to, hope that they develop and take that next step. You hope to get Tank Dell back and he – doesn't have a setback from, the injury that he sustained 2 years ago. You hope that that's what you're going to get, but by the same token, you don't know what you're going to get. We ain't the Browns. I say, man, we ain't the Browns of nothing. Well, you always trading with the Browns. And tell me I'm wrong, Senor Boble. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. The Texans they do have more talent. Yeah. All right. Last thing I got for y'all. I like these morning briefs. Hey, if y'all think I should do more of these morning briefs, drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. The last thing I heard. Y'all remember during the exit interviews, right? During the exit interviews, Nick Casario did his exit interview. Y'all remember I asked him a specific question. And the question I asked him was, hey, do you feel like your window of opportunity is closing? You feel like the window is closing? And in true Nick fashion, first thing he's gonna say is no. He did no. And then he gave me word salad, and then he said no. But my thing is, if you're coming up on these windows where you're gonna have to pay everybody and you're gonna lose talent, and you're not gonna be able to afford to keep talent, just like you're doing now by getting rid of Tytus Howard, how long do you expect that window to be open? That Houston Texans, that Houston Texans rebuild took off quickly. Like what the Texans did in year one of D'Amico Ryans, Will Anderson Jr., and CJ Stroud, that really wasn't supposed to happen. That was supposed to be a rebuild year, but they won the division and made it to. They won their division and made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. That wasn't supposed to happen. That was supposed to be a rebuild year. They were supposed to finish maybe with like 7 wins. They finished with 10. That second year wasn't supposed to happen either. You were supposed to get a little bit better, maybe get in as a wild card, maybe get you like 9 wins, which would have been probably good enough to get you into the playoffs. But they won the division again. They went to the divisional round of the playoffs and lost 2. So now you get into year 3. And now by year 3, those last 2 years has given the Houston Texans fans some sort of hope that this team is better than what was expected, that this team was better than what a lot of people thought that they would be based off the last 2 years. So you come into year 3, right? You come into year 3. And now you're expecting them to get to the divisional round and go to their first AFC championship game. They don't win the division. They start off 0-3. They don't win the division. They go on a 11-game winning streak, make it to the playoffs, win their wild card game, and then they make it to the divisional round again, and they lose in the divisional round. So by year 3 of D'Amico Ryans being the head coach and your cornerstone franchise players on the defensive side of the ball and Will Anderson Jr. and the offensive side of the ball in CJ Stroud, by year 3 is supposed to be the year 1 year, right? Give me a second, y'all. Year 3 was supposed to be the year 1. Well, was supposed to be how year 1 played out. That's what it was supposed to be by year 3. The first 2 years should have been a year of reestablishing the organization, getting all of that muck and mire out of all that toxicity out of the organization that was there before during David Culley year, Lovie Smith, Deshaun Watson. You get all that out your system, right? And now you come in and you're rebuilding in year 1, but they took off in year 1. They took off in year 2. They super exceeded expectations in year 3 after starting 0-3. So now you're going into year 4. You're going into year 4. Texans fans, what are you expecting from the Houston Texans? You already was pissed because they didn't make it to. You said that this was their best chance to make it to the AFC Championship game this year, and they didn't. And that was, a large part due to CJ Stroud's play. That was a large part in the offense didn't play well. So now you say, okay, so fix CJ, fix the offense coming in. You're expecting them to get to their first AFC Championship game at some point, right? Play in their first AFC Championship game in franchise history. This is year 4. By year 4, you know that you're going to give CJ the money. You know that CJ's going you're going to pay CJ and give him the money. Now, attached with that money is higher expectations. Attached with that new contract that CJ Stroud is going to get is higher expectations. And along those expectations going to come, when are you going to get us to the AFC Championship game? And that burden of getting them to the AFC Championship game is going to rely solely on the shoulders of CJ Stroud because he is the quarterback. He is the quarterback. And by him being a quarterback, and they're going to give him big money as being a quarterback, it falls right on squarely on your shoulder, CJ Stroud, to get us to the AFC Championship game. But what people won't take into consideration is he has the talent. He has the elite level talent to get them to the championship game. What are you putting around him? And with what was announced today, trading one of your franchise cornerstones as far as offensive lineman is concerned, because think about it. Tytus Howard, drafted in 2019 in the first round with the 23rd overall pick, was the second longest tenured Houston Texans player outside of Kaimi Fairbairn. Right? Right? Second longest tenured player for the Houston Texans, drafted in 2019, first round, 2013 coming out of Alabama State. So now, you trade your most versatile offensive lineman. And now you're going to have to rebuild the offensive line, all the while trying to rebuild the tight end group, all the while hoping that Tank Dell returns to form and that your second year wide receivers out of Iowa State take the next step, right? So you're looking at this wide receiver group. You already know what you're going to get from Nico Collins. You don't know who they're going to pair with Woody Marks in the backfield. So now, if CJ was stepping into, if year 4, CJ Stroud was stepping into some type of continuity, some type of consistency from year 2 to year 4, then you could say, hey man, you got everything. You should be familiar, right? You should be familiar with everything that's around you now. Take us there. But year 1, he was a rookie. Year 2, he had to find new continuity and consistency with an offensive line. Year 3, he had to find consistency and continuity with a new offensive line, rookie wide receivers, first year play caller. This is why I don't go back and forth with a lot of people on social media when they start bashing CJ Stroud, because they're not trying to have a good faith conversation. They're not looking to have a good faith conversation. They're looking for clicks. They're looking for likes. They're looking for retweets, because they never put those things, right? They never put those things, those factors in when they're talking about CJ Stroud. They just come strictly and start bashing CJ. Like I said, his playoff performance was terrible. It was terrible. Horrible. But you know how it is in Houston. You can't have one bad playoff performance, because as soon as you do, they be wanting to trade you. They be wanting to get rid of you. A la Jalen Green. A young man had one bad playoff series, his first one, and then everybody wanted him to go. They wanted him traded. And everybody's like, I mean, should we really pay CJ? Have you seen what it's like without a franchise quarterback? I'm asking. You put CJ behind, you put CJ on the field and tell him, hey man, it doesn't matter. You're CJ Stroud, make it happen. All right. So now what happens? He has to take some type of risk. He has to take some type of chances. And then when he takes those chances and they don't pay off, Now you're ready to criticize him. But nobody ever goes back and says, okay, have we set this young man up and put him in the best position? Sarge, you're caping for CJ Stroud hard this morning, ain't you? Oh my God, Sarge, you are really caping for CJ Stroud. Am I? Tell me where I lied. Don't worry, I'll wait. Tell me where I lied about the offensive line. Tell me where I lied about the wide receivers. Tell me where I lied about the running game. Tell me where I lied about the offensive coordinator, the offensive system. Tell me where I lied. Go ahead. Just like Senior Boble said, act like you don't remember when Mills was the future. I'm waiting. No, I ain't got time. I gotta get up out of here. Actually, I gotta go grocery shopping. And I gotta get acclimated to being back in Houston, Texas. Oh my God, yo. I gotta say this before I go. My room in Miami was amazing. Oh, I gotta put that video out. Oh, my room. The view was amazing. The game wasn't all that well, but we're gonna talk about that a little bit later on. I got to talk about the Houston Rockets because what have I told you all? They mirror each other, right? The Houston Rockets and the Houston Texans, Spider-Man me pointing at each other. Yeah, I got some things that I need to say about the Houston Rockets and about I gotta let y'all go, TikTok family. I gotta get up out of here. Appreciate it. Get up. All right. Uh yeah, y'all give me a second. Today, I'm going to address the comments made by Houston OG, Houston rapper Killer Leon, and him talking about KD being a Robin. Robin. Say he never was a Batman. He's a Robin. All right. All right. All right. Robin. Hold on. Go through CJ in Detroit, Seattle, Dallas, and the team with a decent online dude that's reaching conference round. Yep. Exactly. Imagine this. Why I got y'all in these streets looking crazy, Sean? What I do? Hey, let me say this though. Imagine if, right? Ooh, imagine if CJ got traded to the Rams. Oh my God. CJ with Sean McVay, multiple Super Bowls. And don't get me wrong, they ain't trading CJ. Remember, I told you the Texans will gut a franchise if they ever traded CJ. That franchise will be looking to, will be trying to recover from trading CJ. I mean, trading for CJ. They'll be recovering for the next 7 years. Texans take everything. But imagine if he played. I've been traveling. My bad, Sean. Imagine if CJ was able to get with a coach like Sean McVay. Imagine if CJ, uh, imagine if CJ got with Kevin O'Connell up in um, Minnesota. Ooh, now none of this stuff is gonna happen, y'all. I'm just saying, what if? My God, him with Sean McVay, the Rams will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, at least. I don't think, but the Rams don't have nothing, right? The Rams don't have like no draft capital, no money. They couldn't do it anyway. CJ and Puka Nakua. With Sean McVay calling the plays, oh my God. CJ with Justin Jefferson, with Kevin. Oh man, look. Wow. Boy. So what you need to do, Houston, is get. Don't worry about it. CJ will be putting up Mahomes type numbers if he went to the Rams. Goodness gracious. Shit. If CJ went. You've been tuning into the morning brief with Big Sarge. Agree, CJ could go to a team with solid online and be breaking records. You're right. You've been tuning into the morning brief with Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports, the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. And stay tuned. Killer, Calleon, Big Perk. Let's talk. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.